We support the position on Iran. The regime that has been there for so many years and has killed so many people does not deserve to exist. Change is needed. Change is also needed here in Europe. The bloodshed that Russia started and that only Russia is prolonging must end. I thank everyone who supports us, who supports life, who supports Ukraine, who does not remain indifferent to real problems in the world right now.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has delivered one of his strongest statements yet on Iran, openly siding with protesters challenging the Islamic Republic and declaring that the regime does not deserve to exist. He linked Iran's unrest to broader global instability, adding that Europe too needs change, calling for an end to what he described as Russia's ongoing bloodshed in Ukraine. Zelenskyy's remarks come as Iran faces widespread anti-government protests, with thousands reportedly killed amid a harsh security crackdown.
I wish you good health, dear Ukrainians. Today has been a difficult day. There was another Russian strike, ballistic missiles. 18 ballistic missiles alone. There were also cruise missiles and attack drones. Some of them were shot down. Just with interceptors alone, 64 Shaheds were shot down. But unfortunately, there were also hits. In fact, for more than just the first week of this winter, our repair crews, our energy teams, and utility services in many Ukrainian cities have been working around the clock. The weather adds challenges, extraordinary challenges. It is important that so many of our people are working professionally, restoring supply, and striving to ensure daily life. Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko and government officials are in constant communication with regional leaders and are ready to assist communities as needed in this situation. But communities themselves must be as proactive as possible. Much depends on whether the work in the cities is organized professionally. I want to thank those community leaders who, in their communities and with their people, are truly helping, and about whom people can say that they are really present and effective. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, today I held a staff meeting. The key issues of defense, missiles for air defense, production of interceptors, all necessary supplies, contracts, financing. We are fully providing for this. It is important that all agreements with our partners are implemented in reality and on time. The Pearl program needs to be filled, and what was done in January is still not enough. This is a task for our entire diplomatic team, both the Office of the President and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, I spoke with U.S. Congressman Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal. I am grateful for the unwavering bipartisan support of Congress. Right now, we have very productive cooperation with the President of the United States and his team. We discussed all the details of this. I informed them about the situation with Russian strikes and the need for air defense. We talked about how additional pressure on Russia can deliver strong diplomatic results. It is important for the U.S. administration to have as many tools as possible for effective pressure. We also discussed support programs that have not yet been fully implemented and could be utilized. In particular, this concerns the protection of our skies. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, we continue to prepare documents with America regarding security guarantees and reconstruction. We are truly working so that in the near future, there will be possible formats for signing and approval, legal approval in the United States Congress and the Ukrainian Parliament. Today, Rustem Umerov gave a report, in particular on these issues as well. It is necessary for the topic of Ukraine in relations with America to remain at the top level, despite all the informational and political challenges that exist today. We support the position on Iran. The regime that has been there for so many years and has killed so many people does not deserve to exist. Change is needed. Change is also needed here in Europe. The bloodshed that Russia started and that only Russia is prolonging must end. I thank everyone who supports us, who supports life, who supports Ukraine, who does not remain indifferent to real problems in the world right now. If life can be protected, life must be protected. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, one more thing. Today there was a report from Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky. It is difficult everywhere right now. It is hardest at the front, considering both the weather and Russia's attempts to pretend that the need to end this war does not concern them. The storms continue. The defense of our positions. The defense continues. I want to thank every one of our units, every one of our soldiers, sergeants, and officers who are achieving results for the sake of Ukraine. The Pokrovsk direction, Huliaipol, the Kupiansk direction. All directions where it is needed. Russian losses must not decrease. Our defense on the front is our strength in diplomacy. Ukraine must be strong. I thank everyone who fights for this and who works for Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine.
Against that backdrop, U.S. President Donald Trump renewed his own threats toward Tehran, warning Iranian leaders they had better behave. Asked about the unrest, Trump said Iran had a big problem and urged the regime to show humanity, while claiming reports of abuses were still being confirmed. Trump also referenced past U.S. strikes, asserting that Iran no longer possesses nuclear capability and warning of consequences if violence against protesters continues.
And by the way, to all Iranian patriots, keep protesting, take over your institutions if possible, and save the name of the killers and the abusers that are abusing you. You're being very badly abused. If the numbers are right now, I hear 5 different sets of numbers. I hear numbers, look, 1 death is too much. But I hear much lower numbers, and then I hear much higher numbers. But I say save their names because they'll pay a very big price. And I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran. Just went into effect today. And I say make Iran great again. You know, it was a great country until these monsters came in and took it over.
Iran, for its part, has pushed back strongly, warning against U.S. interference and vowing retaliation over any American military action. Meanwhile, Russia has sharply criticized Washington's posture. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov accused the United States of dismantling the international system it once helped build, calling U.S. actions against Iran and Venezuela a gross violation of international law.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have held talks with the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation of the Republic of Namibia, Selma Ashipala Musavi. The talks were thorough, productive, and served as a continuation of our contacts that took place last month in Cairo on the sidelines of the second Russia-Africa Foreign Ministers meeting. The minister has recently assumed this position, so we are very pleased that today we had the opportunity to discuss in detail our bilateral relations as well as international and regional issues. We confirmed that the friendly ties between Moscow and Windhoek are developing steadily, and these relations are based on the traditional principles of equality, solidarity, mutual respect, and mutual support that characterize our partnership. And we highly appreciate that our Namibian friends remember well the assistance provided by the Soviet Union to them during the years of struggle against colonialism and in laying the foundations of statehood. We welcome the intention of Namibia's new leadership and personally President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah to deepen ties with the Russian Federation. We express support for expanding dialogue, including at the highest and high levels. And of course, we are interested in resuming the practice of regular foreign policy consultations, which we used to have, but then there was a pause, including due to COVID. But today, the minister and I firmly agreed to resume this practice at the level of deputy foreign ministers of Russia, and in Namibia at the level of directors of the relevant departments. We noted the existence of close regular contacts between the legislators of our countries. The Federation Council and the National Council of the Republic of Namibia cooperate based on the relevant agreements. Friendship groups have been established in both chambers of the parliaments of our countries. They regularly exchange visits, in Russia as well. Russian and Namibian parliamentarians participate on a reciprocal basis in monitoring elections of various levels in our countries. This is also a very good and useful practice. We highly appreciated the inter-party cooperation. In February 2024, the Southwest Africa People's Organization, SWAPO, supported the initiative of United Russia to establish the Forum of Supporters in the fight against modern practices of neocolonialism. And by decision of the UN General Assembly a month ago, December 14th of each year will be observed as the International Day for the struggle against colonialism in all its forms and manifestations. We consider this a fundamentally important decision, since after gaining political independence by our African friends Economic dependence on the West persisted, and in recent years, we have even seen this dependence deepen. Therefore, what we call the second process is not only dependence on the West, but also a dependence on the West that, in recent years, has existed regardless of the West itself. The awakening of Africa is a very pressing issue on the agenda of the international community. Both our party structures, SWAPO, United Russia, and other parliamentary parties of the Russian Federation are actively cooperating at the current stage to counteract any forms of colonialism and neo-colonialism, which, as I have already mentioned, are being actively revived by the West under current conditions. This year, we have agreed to propose additional efforts to intensify trade and economic cooperation. These issues were discussed by Madame Minister with Yuri Trutnev, Deputy Chairman of the Government of the Russian Federation. Together, they co-chair the Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic and Scientific Technical Cooperation.